Hi everyone, welcome to this week. We're going to learn some new pronouns this week. All right, so we're going to review personal pronouns which we've learned before. We're going to talk about demonstratives, which is kind of a sort of pronoun, and then learn one specific one, which is id. So remember that we talked about personal pronouns. We learned ego and mei and tu and tui, etc. And those personal pronouns kind of cover, cover these, right, and these. And remember that when we first learned them, we talked about how Latin does not have a dedicated third-person pronoun, right? So that it's got ego for I, it's got tu for you, it's got nos for we, it's got vos for you, plural. Doesn't have a dedicated third-person pronoun. Well, this week we're going to learn what it uses, third-person pronoun. But just to look back, here are the first-person and second-person pronouns. So here obviously is the first person, so ego, me, mihi, me, nos, nostrum, nobis, nos, nobis, right? And then we didn't talk about the reflexives yet. That's fine. Ignore that down there. So you know those, right? Those should be familiar. That is I and me and we and us. This is you in all of its forms, right? Tu, tui, tibi, te, te, vos, vestrum, vobis, vos, vobis. All right, and those are strictly personal pronouns, right? Just I, we, you, and so this week we're going to learn demonstratives, what are called demonstratives. And the easy way to think about demonstratives is that in English they mean this or that. And Latin has a few of these. We haven't learned them yet, but we're going to learn the first one today, this week. And the thing to keep in mind is that these forms, while they will be used pronominally as pronouns, they are first and foremost adjectives. So first and foremost, they're going to mean this and that. So this book, whatever it might be. And the way they get to a pronoun is that oftentimes they'll be used without a noun to modify. So this man, is. This, run out of space down here, sorry about that, woman, ea. Okay, so by themselves, they just mean this man understood, this woman understood, and that's how they become used as, or that's how they become he, she, and of course id is it. Okay, so these are somewhat new forms. The endings are pretty much what you know. These are 2-1-2 endings. You'll note in the genitive and the dative, it uses that ius for the genitive, that I for the dative, but beyond that, everything is pretty recognizable from an ending standpoint. O, e, orm, is, os, is, I, arm, is, as, is, and then, of course, the neuter, a, for the nominative and accusative plural. Of course, id is irregular, and that spills into the accusative singular. So you've got some forms to memorize, but not a ton. These are pretty familiar endings for you. It's really just the nominative singular, genitive singular, and dative singular that require some attention. All right? They're translated just the same, right? So to this man, right? Ei. Dative singular, right? Technically, that could be to this woman as well. So again, they're going to be used oftentimes, not all the time, without nouns to modify, and then you supply it. And you can see some examples here, right? Ea corit. She runs. Ea really means that woman, but we'd more commonly, more easily say she. Eam video. I see him, right? Eam really means that man, but we'd more commonly just say him. So is ea id is the closest Latin gets to a third-person pronoun, but strictly speaking, it is not a third pronoun. All right, so because it functions as an adjective to some extent first, this first exercise just asks you to practice agreement. And remember, the way to do this is to identify the gender, number, and case of the noun, then apply that to the forms here. All right, so the good news is this is dative or ablative plural, and there's only one here that is dative or ablative plural, which is eis. So those two agree. Okay, now, for something like periculum, be careful, right? Because periculum is neuter. So yes, it is accusative singular. It's also nominative singular as neuter. You may jump on eam as the correct agreement, but that, of course, is not true. Eam is masculine. Periculum is neuter. So it's got to be id, because id is neuter, singular, nominative, and accusative, all right? And that is what periculum is. So make sure to be looking up the information so that you can get these correct. As I said, gender, number, case of the noun, then find the corresponding gender, number, case, the same form in that gender, number, case for is, ea, id. All right, so same basic idea, all right, but now we're sort of doing it, forming the pronoun without having choices. right? And then up here in exercise 60, so just translating these little phrases, all right? So she was walking with him. So with is going to be cum, and then what's him going to be? So we need ablative because of cum, right? Masculine singular of is, a, id, and that's going to be ao. All right, we like him, but they, female they, don't. So same thing. What's the accusative singular of is, a, id? That's going to be am, and then the nominative plural is going to be ai. All right, so just use these as ways to get used to and practice with the forms of is, a, id. Same thing here, okay, except they're just going to agree. So same thing, you're going to get the gender, number, case of your noun. Now, instead of choosing from a list, you're going to create that form on your own, okay? And again, I'll just do one because we've already done this for the most part. Watch out for something like poetas. It is accusative plural, but it is masculine. It's a masculine noun of the first declension. So you might think it's going to be eos. That is incorrect. It's got to be aos to agree because it is masculine. And the masculine of say id is aos. All right, so you've got something to practice. No seals this week. I actually couldn't find any, which is a little surprising, but also a function of the commonality of those letters. So let's go to this week's summatives. All right, you've got a translation here. I'll do a little bit for you. Remember, read through the Latin first. Make some mental notes as you go. So, in noa opto mutatas dicere formas corpora. All right, so in noa, in is obviously preposition. Noa seems a little isolated, so we're going to kind of hold off on that. It might be on its own. It might be agreeing with something. All right. Excuse me. Opto is our verb. You might know it from your vocab. It means I want or I choose. All right. So it's one of those verbs that takes an infinitive. Dicere is an infinitive that's going to go with opto. Mutatas is an accusative, as is formos. All right, corpora is an accusative. Now, what's interesting here, of course, is that we talked about noa. Mutatas formos are accusative, as is corpora. Noa can agree with corpora, and we've already got an unattached accusative, mutatas formos, which is likely going to be the direct object of dicere. So, again, likely noa and corpora are going to agree. All right, so opto, I choose. All right, now my infinitive, to speak of. All right, changed forms. All right, or actually, let me rephrase that. I choose to speak of forms changed into new bodies or shapes. All right, and know what I did there? I realized I had to put the mutatas after the formos because the in depends on it, right? If I said changed forms like I originally did, I'd be cutting off the in. So I choose to speak of forms, sorry about that, did it again, changed into new bodies. All right, and I'll let you take it from there. All right, and for the writing, some English and Latin. All right. So you're going to have some pronouns, things like that. So my mother and father, so mea mater, paterque, or et pater. All right. Me, virtutem docent. All right. And may could be mihi. Technically it's a double accusative, but if you want to use the dative, teach courage to me, that's fine as well. All right. All right, so I will leave the rest to you. That is it for this week. Kind of a short one because only one thing and a pretty straightforward thing. Please email me if you have any questions, and I'll be here next week. Thanks.